a good day. So, in today's video, we're gonna talk about the first cartoon appearances of two Marvel characters. I'm talking about Danny Ketch Ghost Rider and Frankie Raye Nova. So, alright, let's go.
Yeah! So, we start off with the Fantastic Four having a nice, pleasant meal in a fancy restaurant. Or, this fancy meal is actually some kind of a paparazzi, fan frenzy, Comic-Con type event. Fun times, hey? Fun times. Can't even have a burrito without being bombarded by fans. Johnny Storm signs an autograph for this really hot woman named Frankie. And when I say hot, man, I mean she is really hot. As in, she's on fire! Holy crap! But it's all good. She's not in any pain or anything. In fact, she has Human Torch powers. Yowza! That is quite the turn of events. So naturally, Reed Richards wants to run some tests on her to find out what the heck happened. How is this possible without being bombarded by cosmic rays? So in order to get the answer, Reed was able to extract a suppressed memory of Frankie's. What? Like, really? You have a memory extraction machine? Holy jeez! How the hell does that even work? What is the accuracy on that? And also, a suppressed memory, you'll be bringing up some pretty heavy past trauma, man. This might not work out good. But anywho, this suppressed memory shows a young Frankie as a child breaking into her father-in-law's lab where he was building the Golden Age Human Torch android. Frankie got some combustible chemicals on her, turned into fire before extinguishing it, and forced herself to forget this event. Until the heat from Johnny's kiss reignited her flame powers. Huh. You would think her being around some kind of massive heat source, you know, like maybe would have triggered that earlier in her life, like a campfire or something. But oh well. So as they say, birds of a fiery feather flock together, and now these two are deeply in love. But while the two lovebirds are out for a flight, some dude named Terrax came out of nowhere, flying on an asteroid, and started to attack the Baxter building. Which is horrible, but it gets worse when you consider that Terrax is the new herald of Galactus. So there is more doom on the horizon. Or maybe not. Terrax wants the Fantastic Four to destroy Galactus once and for all, seeing as they defeated him once before. And Terrax gives them an offer they can't refuse. He raises the island of Manhattan into space and will threaten to destroy it completely if Fantastic Four does not meet his demands. And where Invisible Woman has to stretch her powers to their furthest limits by putting a force field around the entire island. Like, holy crap, that is pretty impressive. Suddenly, Galactus appears in what looks like a Death Star and gives the Fantastic Four the heads up on Terrax. Galactus wanted a new, more bloodthirsty herald to seek out planets, not having a problem with people, kinda like Silver Surfer did, so Terrax fit the bill, but unfortunately, Terrax wanted all the power and wanted to destroy Galactus. He found a heavily polluted planet that infected Galactus and almost killed him, to where we are now caught up with our current events. Terrax is getting pretty impatient that Galactus is not being beaten up by the Fantastic Four, so he starts to fight himself. But his cosmic power usage is actually rejuvenating Galactus, to where Galactus is strong enough to be really pissed off at Terrax and turns him into a colony of worms. Oh, gross! Man, I won't be able to eat spaghetti for like a week now. Ugh! Just when we think the day is saved, no! Galactus is still pretty sick from the poisoned planet, so he needs to feed now. And unfortunately, now he is on the planet Earth, you know, so manche manche. Thankfully, the mighty Thor shows up and starts beating up Galactus. Yeah! Everybody else starts joining in on the fight except for Frankie. She can't bring herself to attacking Galactus for some reason. Huh, Suddenly, out of the blue, the Ghost Rider appears, and he gives Galactus his patented penance stare. A stare which makes Galactus feel the pain of every life he has destroyed. Man, so that's uncalculable. Like a million, billion, trillion, quadrillion lives? Or something? All of that pain, all at once, like holy jeez! Naturally, Galactus can't handle it, and he passes out. And Ghost Rider, figuring his job is done, he just takes off. As mysteriously as he showed up. Like, crazy! Seeing as Galactus is dying, this really absolutely affects Frankie. She feels the need to save him. And in doing so, she decides to become the new herald of Galactus. To which, of course, Galactus agrees. With the power cosmic infused in her, she now becomes Nova. And she leads Galactus off of our planet for greener grass over there. So with that, the day is saved! Hooray! Frankie fulfills her cosmic yearning for something greater. The Earth is saved, so is Galactus. I guess that's kind of a win. But he decides that the Fantastic Four are his friends, which, I don't think Galactus has many friends, so that's actually a really big compliment. And the only really sad thing is that Johnny and Frankie broke up. Because, man, of all the long-distance relationships, you can't get much longer than that. But with all of that, that is the end of this fantastic tale.
Hey, pretty awesome episode. As per usual with the Fantastic Four, some pretty high stakes and some pretty crazy stuff going on. And I do gotta say, I love all the little cameos that happen in these cartoons. It's pretty cool to see Frankie Raye, right? You don't really see her a whole lot in the cartoons, so to see her basically entire story in one episode, pretty good. But when she turns into the Herald of Galactus, they call her Nova. There's already a character in Marvel called Nova. So now you have two Novas going around the universe? Man, that's like having two different sports called football. Always awesome to see the mighty Thor. Dude can kick anyone's butt pretty much, and if you're going up against Galactus, yeah, you want Thor in your corner. Or you want a complete wild card in your corner like Ghost Rider. Man, if you're the Fantastic Four, everything that you've gone through in this episode is pretty crazy, but then all of a sudden, Ghost Rider coming out of nowhere and defeating Galactus? That would totally blow their fantastic minds. Basically, the equivalent of that is like if you and your buddies are in a forest and you're about to fight a grizzly bear, but then all of a sudden, out of the blue, some really crazy naked guy comes running in, beats the crap out of the bear, and then just completely runs off, Basically, that's what happened. And then you're just standing there like, oh my god, did we win? And also, more concerningly, is that guy on our side? Or what's happening? But man, oh man, hey? The Ghost Rider penance stare being used on Galactus. Oh, a stare that can make you feel the guilt and the pain of all the pain you have given to others. So eating planets for all of eternity, holy crap, man, that would be a lot of pain. But realistically, if we're talking comic book theoreticals, could the penance stare really work on Galactus? So yeah, the penance stare basically affects your soul, right? And yeah, I guess Galactus would have a soul then, hey? But also, he's a cosmic being that's basically older than this current universe. I don't know, it's kind of like a trippy question, right? He's got the power cosmic and everything, so it would, really, I guess, hey? But no, he doesn't really feel any guilt about destroying any life on the planet. He's just feeding, that's just what he does. They even mention that in his episode, he doesn't care what happens to people. He just wants to eat. So I don't think it would. I don't know. What do you think? But indeed, if you haven't seen this episode or this Fantastic Four series, I would suggest you do, because it's pretty cool and it's pretty comic book accurate. But with that, we do have some more behind-the-scenes kind of things about Ghost Rider, about Frankie Raye, about the story and all that kind of stuff going on over here.
So yeah, hey? Fantastic Four versus Galactus. So we have some things to talk about with this episode, so let's start off with the special guest appearances. Starting with the main guest star, Frankie. So, Frankie Raye first appeared in Fantastic Four number 164 in 1975, where she is just a mere mortal, a regular human. She worked at the United Nations as an interpreter, and she started dating Johnny Storm for a while, even though she has an incredible fear of fire. Sounds like the Human Torch is the last person you want to date with the fear of fire, but love is love. Speaking of fire, she eventually got her Human Torch power in Fantastic Four number 238 in 1982. And also, she did become the Herald of Galactus, assuming the new name of Nova in Fantastic Four number 244 in 1982. So her backstory is pretty similar to the future episode. Her fear of fire is eventually explained to be the result of a mental block induced by her stepfather, Phineas Horton. Which is actually really fantastic because Phineas Horton was the scientist who created the original Golden Age android Human Torch. Once he heard about this new Human Torch called Johnny Storm of the Fantastic Four, he became kind of bitter and I guess a bit jealous. He's like, damn it man, that was my shtick with my robot. Who is this Human Torch, eh? Jeez! So he decided to build a new android, and the combustible chemicals for the android is what actually doused Frankie. So actually, that's pretty awesome. You got the Silver Age Human Torch with Johnny, you got the reference to the Golden Age Torch, and then you get, well, I guess the Bronze Age Human Torch, So it works out pretty good. Our next guest star would be Ghost Rider. Which was, really random, but still really awesome. So let's take a quick little deep dive into this fire-headed guy. So the original supernatural Ghost Rider first appeared in Marvel Spotlight number 5 in 1972. And his real name is Johnny Blaze, a stunt motorcyclist who was desperate to save the life of his foster father, so he sold his soul to Mephisto. Hey? With that deal, basically, Mephisto bonded Johnny Blaze with a demon named Zatharos. So whenever Johnny Blaze finds himself around evil, Zatharos takes over, essentially, giving Johnny a flaming skull, getting a whole bunch of hell power, and for some reason fighting evil. You would think he would kind of join them, but I guess not, so that's pretty cool. So he is an anti-hero and has quite an amount of powers. So many powers, I don't think I have enough time to list them all. But essentially, he has a lot of demigod powers like speed, stamina, strength, agility, reflexes, durability. He has hellfire manipulation, telekinesis, the penance stare, supernatural awareness. He is immune from reality warping and from time manipulation. He can read, manipulate, cleanse, consume, or mutilate someone's soul. Holy crap, he's a hero? And the list goes on and on, but holy jeez, eh? This guy, pretty darn powerful. So this Ghost Rider was around for a bit, but as some characters do, they kind of fade away. And as most characters do, they get brought back. And usually it's someone else. So, the next Ghost Rider was a young man named Danny Ketch, and he debuted as Ghost Rider in Ghost Rider Volume 3, Number 1 in 1990. And this Ghost Rider basically had the exact same powers as the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, just looked a whole lot cooler, man, with the spikes on his leather jacket and stuff. especially with that mystic chain that he can control telepathically. Although he does not get his powers the same way as the Johnny Blaze character through Zatharos. Nay, he is bonded with the Angel of Death and Judgment. Danny was bonded with the Spirit of Vengeance when he found a motorcycle in a junkyard which had a mystical sigil on it, which turned him into the Ghost Rider. Also, it is a neat little fact that we eventually learned that Danny Ketch and his sister are the long-lost siblings of Johnny Blaze. Some neat family history, and oh my god, is that family cursed? And this was the Ghost Rider that was in our featured episode. And for a quick little fun fact, there was an older character called Ghost Rider, but not exactly related to these motorcycle flaming skull Ghost Riders. It was actually an old Western character who first debuted in Ghost Rider #1 in 1967. So, no supernatural powers to this guy, you know, he just dressed in like kind of a glowing costume that made him look like a ghost, and just some kind of random cowboy, basically. Once the newer motorcycle Ghost Rider came along, this character's name was changed to Phantom Rider. The interesting thing is, though, in the Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage, this Western Ghost Rider was played by Sam Elliott as an older version of Ghost Rider. So that part is pretty cool, and it was later revealed that there was a whole swath of Ghost Riders, you know, going way back to the dawn of humans, where I believe the first Ghost Rider was a Neanderthal riding a fiery woolly mammoth. I guess, eh? But anywho, for the actual story of this episode, it was a story that was adapted from the comic books, and the story took place in Fantastic Four, number 242, 243, and 244 in 1982. So for the most part, you know, the meat and potatoes of the story is pretty much the same. Of course, 3 comic books being kind of taken down into just 1 half-hour story, you're gonna cut a lot of things out. For example, the story takes place at Christmas, so it's just as much of a Christmas story as Die Hard. So the similar things, you know, where Terrax comes to Earth, gets the Fantastic Four to fight a weakened Galactus, Galactus destroys Terrax, tries to eat the Earth again, gets stopped by some heroes, and then, you know, becomes friends with them, and then takes off, after turning Frankie into his new herald. It's all the same! So, some of the main differences from the comic book to the cartoon would be, well, for example, in the episode, Thor and Ghost Rider came in to help the Fantastic Four. But, in the comic book, there was quite a bit more heroes, like, let's say, the Avengers, not just Thor. Also, Daredevil and Spider-Man were gonna join the fight, but then they realized, no, they're just basically street crime heroes. They really can't take on someone like Galactus, so they just kinda hung out. In the episode, Ghost Rider gave Galactus the penance stare, making Galactus feel the pain of every person he's destroyed by eating their planet, whereas in the comic book, Ghost Rider did not appear. Instead, it was actually Doctor Strange who cast a spell with similar results on Galactus, basically making him feel the anguish of everything he's done. The anguish was too great for Galactus, and it basically, you know, caused his brain to shut down. But that's pretty much the basics on this episode, so I guess that's where we shall leave it. And so with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess that's it. Also, if you're interested, I created my own comic book channel, 215 Comics, and currently I have created my own cartoon series, The Adventures of the Density, and recently started a radio series featuring my newest character, Elastomorph, with more titles to come. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link up top here to that channel, and some links at the end of the video. Yeah! Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.